All right, so lots of debate concerning the 6 parliamentarians who are being investigated for illicit enrichment. Some are calling for the names to be revealed so we can know exactly who these folks are. Well, joining us to discuss the matter, political commentator Lloyd B. Smith. Good morning to you, Sir Smith. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you?
Good morning to you both. I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. What is your take, high level, on this situation? Let me hear your position first and foremost. Ought we to know, or ought we to just await the process to run its course and then we hear?
No, I do believe that at this point it is necessary to know. And I say this against the background that for quite some time now there has been a serious trust deficit between the people and the government. And this has not just been since this administration has been in office, but over several decades. And this particular, what I would call kerfuffle, has brought to the fore the fact that our political leaders and representatives seem to think that they are, above certain, considerations when it comes to the people and how the people view them and what the people expect of them. I do believe that in this scenario, it would have been better if each parliamentarian was allowed to express himself or herself in terms of whether or not he or she is being investigated. For there to be a gag order suggests some amount of autocratic leadership coming from the top. And this is a precedent that we should not allow to become embedded in our political culture, because there could be other issues coming up later on. And are we going to understand that when it suits the Prime Minister or the leader of opposition, he can say to his team, shut up, don't say anything. The Constitution does not recognize political parties. It recognizes parliamentarians, the people's representatives. And there ought to be a certain level of independence of thought and action among parliamentarians. Unfortunately, this has not been the tradition here, as we see in Parliament where, everybody thumps the desk when their particular leader speaks, even if what he's saying they do not agree with it. We need to begin to move away from that sort of psychophancy if we are going to be truly independent and democratic. And at this time, especially against the backdrop of us moving towards a Republican status, this kind of activity should not be allowed.
Forgive my ignorance,
there
sir.
Should be...
Forgive my ignorance, sir. Forgive my ignorance, but couldn't they, or can the Integrity Commission name them?
No, because there is a clause in the current setup of the Integrity Commission which prevents it from doing so, which is why, in fact, all that the Integrity Commission can do at this time is to send the information to the Parliament, to the Speaker of the House, and then she would be the one to bring it to Parliament.
So an extension of my question, could it be possible that we're not going to know who these are at the end of the day, period?
I am beginning to suspect that that is the direction in which we are going, which should be very unfortunate. And it becomes political rivalry, which should not have happened. And by that I mean, so far the opposition MPs have declared that they are not aware of any of them being investigated. So automatically, that puts the government parliamentarians, in trouble, because then it's going to be fingers just pointing at them. And it ought not to have reached that stage, It is unfortunate. And where the situation is now, it is messy. It's not going to get any better. And especially now that we are moving into the silly season, where elections are likely in the future or near future, we are going to see a lot of politicking around this issue, rather than a question of accountability and transparency coming from those who govern us.
There's a notion that we have about folks being innocent until proven guilty. For those who argue, Sir Smith, that this is just a means of protecting the reputation of folks who serve until you have something credible and substantive in terms of claims to lay against them. What say you to that? Because you say you think that this is really in a bid to protect the Sikhs until such time as they can no longer be protected. But what of the folks who say, no, the right thing is being done because we don't know for sure that these are they?
Yes, but we practically every day we hear in the news that the police are investigating certain persons of interest, and their names are disclosed to the public. I don't know why parliamentarians should get glove treatment, special treatment. And the fact is that if a parliamentarian has the level of integrity that he or she should have, the fact that if a name is called, clearly at the end of the day, the investigation will reveal whether or not that person is guilty of the offense or not. And at such time, I don't see a problem in his or her name being cleared. I really do believe that the disclosure is what is important at this stage.
But is it
and not just a question of whether or not the person is guilty or not guilty.
But is the statement that the Integrity Commission made, they say, I went to Neville Bell and him can't prove who him get the pen from. So
Yes.
isn't that the fact that them guilty already? Don't?
Well, there is an inherent possibility that there is guilt there. The very fact that the person is being investigated would suggest to me that there is sufficient evidence there to do so. Because I don't see where, under any normal circumstance, the Integrity Commission would be investigating an innocent person. There must be some amount of evidence there to suggest that there has been illicit activity, which is being investigated, and therefore that is why the disclosure is necessary. And what is even more important, I think, is that those persons who are being investigated should recuse themselves from certain parliamentary duties. You know, some of whom are even the committee that is oversighting the Integrity Commission itself.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's an interesting point. So you say it would have been better had the government taken a proactive approach. That toss has gone through the gate. What can they do now to right this situation in terms of the management of how we move forward?
The only thing that is left for it to do to gain some amount of credibility is to remove the gag order and let the Integrity Commission do its work in a transparent and accountable way.
Do you think we will see that happen?
Well, as I said, we are in the political silly season, and it's a question of the perception that we meaning the ruling party, may lose ground in the polls. I think that's unfortunate. What we need here are statesmen and women, not just politicians. The country should be put first at this stage, and not political parties and their respective ambitions and preoccupations.
When you say remove the gag order, you're saying remove the gag order from the politicians who are being investigated so they can say, I am one of them, or remove the gag order and get the Integrity Commission say, you are one of them.
Both of them. What has happened is that the government itself apparently has introduced a gag order of its own. At the same time, the Integrity Commission, there is a gag order there, and that particular gag order is being debated even as we speak as to whether it should be kept. So I'm saying that both gag orders should be removed.
Okay.
Why do we have to have this sort of cloak and dagger mystery situation when we are dealing with the people's business?
Thank you, sir.
Why?
Thank you, sir. And say hi to the folks in Montego Bay.
And I wish both of you very well.
Oh, thank you, Sir
Thank you,
Smith.
sir.
God bless. Take care. Oh boy, the debate will clearly continue. So the Prime Minister had put in an official gag order?
Yeah, with his party
okay,
members.
okay,
He said,
okay.
don't say anything.
Okay.
But I'm wondering why the Integrity Commission, because again,
Because
you
they
made,
can't
you made an
contravene.
excellent point that you're suggesting that maybe they're not guilty, but I am suggesting that the Integrity Commission couldn't come out and say, well, Neville and Sim in trouble until after them ask you some questions. So if you said to me, where you get the phone from, and I can't tell you, then you
But
can
they're still
say,
investigating whether what has been said is valid. Do you know that they've spoken to those persons? Do you know?
That's what they said. That's what they said. But Mr. Golden said he asked his 21 parliamentarians, and they said, nobody don't talk to me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mr. Holness said, I ask everybody, and he says, so far, everybody
Far
said
and
no.
wide, yes.
Let him say him don't get word from everybody when I read that, so I don't know if he got it, no. But it's interesting. And again, illicit enrichment just means exactly what I just said. I can't prove where I get
Illicit, me not like how illicit
No,
sound,
it
though.
don't
That not
sound so
nice.
wonderful.
No, it don't nice.
It doesn't sound so good.
Not nice.
More.
Anon.
We're going to take a break and more when we come back. Stay with us, please.